What's going on, Bass-TEC fans? Hope everybody is doing great this afternoon, this evening, I mean. So we have got a awesome show tonight with our 2021 ePropulsion TEC state champions from Five Alive Bass Club and quite a few other John Boat clubs that's represented here in the state of Georgia. And no further ado, we'll bring on our state champions and welcome them into the show. Blake Yarter, Charlie Dick.
What's going on, Merrick?
What's going on, man? So thank y'all tonight for taking some time out of your daily lives. I know everybody has a lot going on. First off, I just want to mention this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot with it, but I'm sure everybody would appreciate it too. Charlie, everybody would continue to pray for Charlie's family. They stand in need of prayers right now.
Thanks, everybody.
So let's hear about the state championship. Y'all coming through. I mean, y'all already had the Navy 6.0 and been able to represent the state championship and come through and get the upgrade to the new Evo, first Evo motor in the nation. And y'all have got your hands on it and running it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I tell you that new Evo, you know, I've already spoke to several people asking about it. It's silent. You know, I've never seen an electric outboard that is virtually silent, and all you can hear is the water coming off the boat. It's pretty cool, smooth. They definitely top of the line products with ePropulsion.
So, did y'all feel going into that event? We didn't pre-interview. We didn't really discuss this, but that's kind of y'all's home lake, right? Y'all spent a lot of time cutting your teeth in there since that lake's opened up.
Yeah. It's put a lot of practice hours in Hard Labor Creek for sure.
And I'm sure y'all would agree with this because I've heard it from a lot of anglers that, you know, they said it was a tough day that day. And I'm sure y'all would agree with this, that there's a lot of dead water that's on that lake too.
There's a lot of water on that lake that don't get fished at all. I mean, there's fish on that lake that hadn't even seen a bait yet. I mean, you know, everybody wants to run the community holes, and there's probably a 30-pound bag sitting anywhere on that lake at any given time.
Yep. So I didn't go through and mention this, and I do want to take a moment. Two parts. First, if you got comments, questions, anything like that, get on here, leave us a comment. Blake and Charlie be glad to come through, answer any questions you got. But first most, I'd like to personally, in representing the Total Electric Championship here in Georgia, would like to thank first most ePropulsion for coming through, sponsoring our 2021 event. It was, without a doubt, the representation within the state throughout all the clubs. You know, I don't mean to put anybody else above anybody else, but seeing y'all two at the end of the day come through and win that event, I know it's not about the motor, it's not about the money to y'all. It's the memories, and it couldn't have been to two finer young men.
Well, thank you, Merrick.
Appreciate that.
But I also would like to thank all of our other sponsors too. I don't mean to leave any of them out. Sorry, not to name one above the other, but each and every one that made that event possible. It was amazing. The support that's received from each one of them, and the continued support that's going to continue on through with Total Electric Championship. And we appreciate each and every one, as well as all the volunteers. I know, Blake, you jumped in there last year and helped us in a big way. You even kind of rescued me a little bit, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It was definitely a rescue. I don't know if we succeeded, but we try it anyway.
Yep. So let's start diving in on this. All right, now that I've kind of got that out of the way, let's start talking. I mean, one of the biggest topics. I mean, it's kind of for the past year since it's come out. Panoptics. I mean, it is definitely a game changer. Wouldn't y'all agree as far as how you approach each and every event?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a game changer. It takes a while to learn how it works, but once you learn it, it can definitely be another tool to help you be successful. There's no doubt about that. Of course, like we've talked before, it can hurt you too. Every day is different. Some days you can, it's the way to catch them. And other days, you can waste 3 or 4 hours out there, trying to make those fish bite, and they just won't.
No, they won't bite.
So we kind of talked about this the other night with Panoptics. I mean, most people have them on the front of the boat, viewing it and everything like that and seeing it. We kind of talked about Charlie being in the back of the boat. Boat position is critical as well. And if you want to kind of explain, how y'all approach something, I'm sure everybody would love to hear it.
Yeah. So, I take a lot of pride in, trying to put Charlie, my dad, in the best position to catch as many fish as I catch. I don't ever look at it as Charlie versus Blake or, the Blake show, so to speak. I do everything I can to get Charlie is in a position to get as many bites, if not more, than I do. I guess fishing many years with my dad has helped me, learn how to position the boat and go about it that way. Charlie and my dad are very similar in their fishing styles, and it seems to work for us, going that route. So,
yep. I'd have to say though, when you're using the Panoptics, it is key for that man that's up front to, if you really want the strategy to work, you got to keep the guy in the back of the boat in position and able to catch the fish that he's not fishing for. And I mean, that goes for whether you got Panoptics or not. I mean, you got to work as a team, and it can't be, one-sided no matter what. I mean, you got to work as a team, and Blake was very good at doing that. I mean, we work good together. If he's using Panoptics, he makes sure I'm where I can, fish what I need to fish, and vice versa. I mean, that's the whole key right there.
Yeah, and there's been, I mean, like I said, every day is different, but there's been tournaments where, Panoptics was the only way. And, like you see a lot of anglers, you both have to get up there in the front of the boat, and, one throws one way and one throws the other. And, but there's also days that, you may or may not catch a fish doing it. And, Charlie in the back of the boat or Dad or whoever, they're catching them their style too. So you have to be mindful of that, especially on the boater end of it. You got to always keep in mind that guy in the back of the boat is just as important as you are.
So David Adamson, everybody, we all know David Adamson. He's also another ePropulsion family member. Saying that's the most humble man. So maybe you meant me with men with it, both of y'all. But definitely, I'd agree to that. So let's talk about, the conversation got, brought up in our past interview that we done that actually was part of our second promotional video. Both of y'all have some history as far as fishing big scale events. And when I mean big scale events, you look at john boat fishing. It is john boat fishing. And everybody thinks big scale. You think big boats, big motors, gas motors, big lakes, bigger environment. Y'all both have done that, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
So let's hear about Charlie. Let's hear your side as far as fishing the big scale events.
Well, I mean, I fished several years in the Berries trails with a couple of people, Mickey McHenry, Mark Knight. I fished a couple with Tony Couch. And then when I got hard into John boat fishing, Geiger had mentioned about fishing that BFLs and stuff. And I got interested in that. And I started fishing the BFLs. And, you know, I had pretty good success in the BFLs. I mean, I finished high in the points each year, you know, had 4 top 10 finishes. Then I fished the Costa Series as well. You know, I've had success on both ends, whether it's the big lakes or the small lakes. And, you know, thank the good Lord for that. I mean, without his help, you wouldn't have any of the success that I've had as far as fishing because, you know, I can do all I can to make them bite. But if they don't bite, then, you know, there ain't one other person that make him fish bite, and that's the good Lord.
Definitely well said. So let's hear your end there, Blake.
Yeah, so me and my dad, we fished the Berries Trail for 2 or 3 seasons. We were blessed. The first season, I think we finished in the top 20 in points, and then the second season, we finished in the top 10. Had some second place finishes. Was blessed on the big stage. I also, when I was in college, I fished for the University of Georgia for one season. First tournament I ever fished, me and my partner Daniel Robinson, we fished a tournament against Jordan Lee on the Tennessee River at Lake Wheeler, and we won that tournament. I think the first day we weighed in, I think right at 21 pounds. The second day we weighed in like 11 pounds, and we beat, I can't remember, I think it was Matt Lee, because Matt and Jordan both were fishing that trail. It was the Auburn University trail. I think one of them coming second. But anyway, had success there. Fished the BFLs as a boater 4 years ago. Was blessed to make the regional in my rookie season as a boater. You know, been very blessed, fished against a lot of good fishermen. Been taught a lot from a lot of good fishermen over the years. You know, how to handle yourself to you know, catching fish. It's all been helpful. And I've been blessed all the way around on all platforms.
So Jonathan Comey is saying, and I'm assuming this probably is for both y'all men, them trophies. He's talking about seeing them in the background from both of you. So, no, Charlie's got them up there on the wall. I even see, and I don't mean to pause on this, but there is a little story, I think, behind that hat, right, that you got there?
Oh yeah, the Brigade Boats hat. Our buddy Anthony, I was on him about giving me a hat, and he told me, he said, well, Charlie, I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. He said, if you finish in the money, he said, I'll give you one of them hats. And I said, okay. So the good Lord blessed me and Blake. We went out yonder. We knocked it out of the park. We come back. The first words that come out of my mouth to Anthony, I said, hey, boy, I said, either you can give me that hat and make it easy on yourself, or I'm going to take it from you, one of the two. And he gave me that. So it's on the trophy board with the rest of them.
That is awesome. And yeah, Anthony Jones, Brigade Boats, y'all get over and check them out. Anthony stepped up, helped out in a big way, representation through with ePropulsion, being the MC of the event. So we really, really, really appreciate all that he's done to help out with us with ePropulsion TEC. So let's back to Panoptix. We was discussing something last night that I thought was very interesting, and I haven't made the leap. There's probably quite a few anglers that has not made that leap into Panoptix yet, but y'all had discussed there's a moment of time in which when you're on the water, I mean, you still do it with regular graph too, but Panoptix helps you a lot more to when you're going to take and put all your cards in, or when that moment you realize you have to take and pull out? Do y'all mind maybe explaining a little bit about that, like moments that has been successful, maybe moments that hadn't been?
Yeah, so I mean, with the Panoptics, the whole key of it, I mean, of course, you can see the fish and you can see your lure. It's knowing when to make the decision that, hey, this is going to work or this is not going to work. There's been times that we've stayed with it and probably should have pulled the trigger to leave it sooner than we did. But there's also been tournaments where we've stuck with it. We've changed colors, we've changed lures, and, we found that combination that they wanted, and, we started catching them. So, it's just like any other aspect of fishing tournaments. It's all mental, and you've got to know when to pull the trigger and your decision making. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Charlie, you can expand on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, like Blake said, we've had several tournaments to where, it's helped us before, and then at some point in time we looked at one another and said, hey, these fish ain't getting any bigger. We got to make a change and, make the change, and it's worked out for the good, like he said, sometimes, and sometimes, it's costed us sometimes.
Well, while we're on the topic of the TEC, I'll go ahead and make this comment. We were using Panoptics at one part of the tournament, and we were catching fish. I mean, I probably caught 15 fish or so in a row, but they were the same size. And we made a decision to leave those fish to go try something else. And it just so happened we made the right decision. And when we went and ran the other pattern, that's where we won the tournament off of. So
I think what helped us make that decision was, it goes back to, like, we had said before, was boat position. I mean, Blake had me in the right position, and I happened to make the right cast. That actually helped us determine to make that decision, to make the swap.
And there are those moments too with that Panoptics while you're running. I haven't seen it firsthand, but you're looking at a fish or a group of fish. Are there those times where you're just making so many cast after cast after cast, and you just know it just ain't going to happen?
Rocky Mountain.
Or is there those moments, or are those the moments where you just know they could be that one bite, that one time it's going to open its mouth?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie just mentioned it. We had a tournament earlier in the year up at Rocky Mountain, and, it was thousands of casts, and, with 20 minutes left to go, I looked up, made the right cast, and caught a fish that's, pretty much been the monumental fish of the season. So, and that's the rabbit out of the hat. There's days like that. You just have to keep grinding and keep trying. And, some days the Lord just bless you when you least expect it. And that's what happened that day for sure.
Yeah. Without that fish, we wouldn't be sitting where we're sitting in the elites right now. That is for sure.
So 2 comments kind of come through, and I believe this holds a lot of meaning behind it. In my opinion, this phrase really, really does. Anthony Jones made the comment. What is it, Blake? Charlie?
Unbelievable.
And that wasn't the only one making the comment. Mr. Tom come through. Unbelievable. So if you want to expand on unbelievable a little bit.
I don't know. I picked that up in high school, and it's just stuck with me ever since. And, anytime we've made jokes or cutting up, they just always kind of come out. And I actually have a sticker on my boat that says unbelievable. So, and now Anthony Jones, he has officially took it away from me. I mean, he can't even finish a sentence without the word in it. So I guess that's a Florida boy thing. They like to do a little copycatting down there.
Oh man. And here's Anthony texting me right now. I'm just kidding. He's the one to get on the show and defend himself. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was. I hope you don't mind. I know that was. I've seen it on your boat. I've seen it through with Anthony's video through a brigade and how finishing your boat out. I mean, there's a lot of memories in that boat, and that I know that meant a lot. Seeing that boat from what it was to what it is now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was, me and Dad, I mean, we started, I think I was 16, 17 years old. We've had that boat. Been a lot of laughs, a lot of fish caught out of that boat, a lot of good memories. People ask me all the time, are you going to upgrade? You going to get something newer? I'm like, nah, I think that one may be here after I'm dead and gone.
And Anthony said it, and I included it, and I didn't really get to that part fully yet. Fishing big scale. Y'all have done it. You've got the John boats. Both of y'all, correct me if I'm wrong by this statement or not, y'all are rooted into John boat style fishing. And leaving it would be probably not foreseen, really, just because not only y'all, there's a lot of anglers. I'm sure y'all would agree with that. They have the competitive edge. They could go professional if they wanted to. It's y'all's desire to keep fishing through with this. And if something ever does advance, I'm sure y'all would jump on board too, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and Charlie both, we like, whether it's big boats, whether it's John boats, whether it's pond fishing, or fishing in a creek, we just both love to fish. Ocean, you name it. We just love to do it. I love getting out and watching the sunrise and watching the good Lord's creation come to life every Saturday morning. I live, eat, and breathe it, and throughout the week, can't wait till Saturday comes around. So it's definitely had a lot of good memories. It's a blessing.
And I know we're going to have to eventually, in the state championship level, we're going to have to start offering some maybe our wives can start getting together and doing like a series shows of live interviews with all the wives of fishermen or something like that, So you mentioned about having a good time and having fun with it and stuff like that. I've got a unbelievably. So I got a clip that Blake has shared with me, and we'll kind of put Charlie to the spotlight here for just a minute on it. That y'all had some pretty funny moments in the boat, right? This year, fish catches and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to play this video, and I'm not going to be able to pause it in between. But I want to show it and let y'all take a look at it and see. I mean, I don't mean to knock y'all, but we're all human, right? Like, not everything's going to work out perfectly.
Oh yeah.
So this is our state champions. So don't beat yourself up when you're on the water and you have things. Don't let this be confidence booster. So let's go. I mean, it was literally. And you saved it.
Yep.
Let's hear about it. Let's hear about it, Charlie.
It was just one of them days. I mean, we were fishing for we was fishing for Five Alive's championship, and that was on the final day. We'd never been on this lake. Neither one of us knew anything about it. We done caught a limit pretty quick to spots. So we was going down through there, and we come across this treetop. I throwed up in there, boy, and when I did, that joker lit it up. I reeled down, set the hook, and just for some unknown reason, there went the rod right out of my hand. I mean, you can see in the video, I mean, I looked at Blake like, what?
Yeah, and then he fell, fell in the bottom of the boat, and he was back there rubbing on that old knee for about 6 hours and crying and one leg in it and everything else.
I know about falling in your boat. So Charlie, I know how painful it is.
Oh yeah.
And I don't mean to put y'all down with that, but I mean, all joking aside, I mean, that was an awesome save. I mean, I've seen most people videos you see out there, it goes into the lake and they're jumping in and diving after it. I mean, you saved that thing before it got completely away from you.
Probably when I knocked the bark off my leg.
So I got not to be just. Oh, you're glitching on us. Try it again.
I said I was looking at about $225 rod and reel gone. I said, oh, that joker ain't getting away from me.
You're just gonna be fishing for a rod the rest of the day, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
So not to just be partial on this. I mean, Blake, you also included another one for yourself.
Oh my finger.
And I can't quite hear the audio on it, so we'll let it play through. And if you want to take in commentary and stuff like that, by all means, y'all feel free to ad lib into it.
He's going to do it to me. He's going to say, oh, my finger. He starts shaking his hand. I was like, forget the net.
You was muted. Don't know what you were saying there, Blake.
I was just saying it was cold that day, and that thing helicoptered on me and hit my knuckle, and Charlie wouldn't stop laughing because it hurt.
The only thing I called out of all that was oh, my finger. I think we heard the knuckles cracking whenever it set the hook.
Mm.
Then when I realized it was butterbean, I just put the net down.
Let me get back over here to comments, just make sure I ain't missing any. So, Anthony, I set it up just a second ago. When you was ribbing him, give him a hard time, he was saying, watch it now. So, Wayne Glaze saying, I knew it. So, I don't remember which section maybe we was talking about for I knew it.
With G-Man.
So let's talk about, we're kind of talking about back to the motor in the beginning. I mean, I got some pictures of y'all that, for those that didn't hang around after the weigh-in, and everybody left, and we was cleaning up, trying to get everything put up. For those that hadn't went through and seen the pictures of it yet, I mean, y'all were to say excited was probably an understatement, because I don't think we haven't ever seen this before. I don't know if we ever will in the future, but y'all literally out with the old, in with the new within just a short period of time after being crowned state champions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the pictures on there, I mean, y'all were ready. Got the old motor sitting there in the floorboard. Got that new Evo sitting there strapping it on and ready to roll with it. So that is awesome. So I know there's probably going to be a lot of, probably already has happened, a lot of questions about with the Evo series motor, right?
Yeah, there has. I mean, it's a brushless motor. Everything's in the foot. and it's super, super quick. The old Navy 6.0 is great motor, outstanding. When you take off, it takes a little bit, a minute or two for it to, catch up to speed. But with the Evo, me and Charlie the other day, he liked to throw me in the boat. He hit it at blast off, and it's just got some torque. It's silent, it's got torque, it's maintenance free, it's smooth as a button. Battery life, it's better on batteries. It's just the whole package, the whole motor in itself. There's not one thing with that motor that I would have done different. It's an awesome product. ePropulsion knocked it out of the park for sure.
So I know a lot of people, probably it's already fished a couple of tournaments since the state championship against you. I'm sure they've heard it. They've already seen it. Thank you, Blake, for providing these videos. So I kind of want to go through and show from the Navy 6.0 series to where it was before. And I hope I clicked the right one first. So if I get out of it real fast, then you'll know that obviously it's not that. But let's pull this up. This should be the Navy 6.0. Everybody hears it. I mean, that's the motor sound from the Navy 6.0. And here's the difference between the Navy 6.0 to the Navy 6.0 Evo series. Gentlemen, what is the final phrase again?
Unbelievable.
I mean, it just speaks for itself with it. So, so you've kind of touched base on comparable from the older version to the newer version. I'm sure y'all have already put it to use in tournaments, being even more helpful for y'all.
Yeah. The Evo is quicker. We picked up speed. It's like I mentioned a while ago. It is a little better on battery life. Not a lot, but it is 5 to 10% better. So it gives you more options, longer run time, quicker hole shot. Like I said a while ago, everything with it has definitely been an improvement. Wouldn't you say, Charlie?
Yeah, it's a huge improvement. It's a lot smoother to operate. Yeah, it's tricky at first to get used to, operating the motor as far as steering and everything. But I mean, once you get used to the response of that motor, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better outboard to run. I mean, I don't own an outboard, but I've ran Elcos, I've ran the Torqeedos, everything that's been on the market, and by far the ePropulsion motors is the way to go.
The big thing is brushless. I mean, there's not a motor out there that's brushless. So they've set the standard, for all the electric motor companies. ePropulsion is the standard now.
So you want to talk about some differences? I know, Charlie, I just want to say I'm sorry right off the bat. Okay. I love you. Don't even know you hardly. I don't mean to do this to putting you down, but we asked you last night, if it'd be all right, and you said it was okay. And you can back out now if you want to. I'm giving opportunities.
There is no shame in my game, Bubba. Go ahead, let it roll. Hey, but I will clarify something. I paid for the boat repairs the morning of the TEC.
You paid for the boat repairs?
Yep.
Yeah.
Morning of the TEC, I paid for the boat repairs that my buddy at Brigadier Boats come and repaired on the mobile.
Yeah. So Anthony got his mobile repair unit and his Toyota Tacoma and or Tundra. Maybe it's a Tundra. I don't want to insult his truck, but he come out and he fixed the damage that you're about to see in this video.
All right, let me get over here to find it again. All right, here we go.
Go ahead and apologize for the kids' fishing pole at Black Shoals.
So if family wants to leave a comment on here, we'll maybe we'll send you some ePropulsion hats. Okay.
Charlie liked to yank the Snoopy pole slap out of the little young fella's hands, so it was unbelievable.
Charlie, you may even buy him a new Snoopy pole, wouldn't you? I'd pitch in the money.
I might. Yeah, my guess. Hold on a minute. I'm in his line. Go ahead and read your line up.
I don't even want to say nothing yet. I'm letting y'all try to speak first.
I mean, for 15 minutes, I couldn't even talk to him. I mean, he just he liked to throw me in the water, and I was embarrassed because I'm trying to catch myself on the dock, and then little dude on the dock's throwing his little crappy jig, and Charlie's then got it wrapped up in the propeller and like to yanked it out of his hand, and I'm just wanting to crawl in the tackle box and hide. And then, demolition derby on the side of the boat. So, what do you do?
Blake likes fishing with the handicap. That's why he lets me in the boat.
Oh, you got a mulligan in the morning of the TEC, right?
That's right.
So David Adamson said, "Throw it in reverse, Terry." Is your nickname Terry?
Well, that was the problem. He threw it in forward instead of throwing it in reverse. So we got the F and R confused.
If I slung you out, I noticed that you took a pretty good bounce there to almost go out.
Panoptics about went in the lake.
I told my wife as soon as I got home, I said, I ran Blake's boat right in the side of the dock. I said, he wasn't happy. Her famous words was, unbelievable.
It took Anthony like 45 minutes and 5 coats of paint and filler, and he spent half his day fixing that spot on the boat.
Worth every bit of that money, wasn't it, Charlie?
It sure was. And I told Blake, I said, I'll pay. I said, you just let me know what Anthony charges. I'm gonna take care of it. No, don't worry about it. I said, no, you know me. He said, well, I ain't gonna argue. It ain't gonna do no good. I said, you're right. It ain't.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about, not necessarily even have to be bass fishing or related. We touched on this already, pre-interview and stuff. So y'all have kind of some bucket list items. Fishing and stuff like that, things y'all'd like to do fishing wise. Charlie, what's one of your bucket list items you'd like to do?
It's like I said before, I would love to go peacock bass fishing. I've always wanted to do that just for the simple fact of, how aggressive they are and just the fight they put up. I mean, I'd love to be able to go do that one day.
And Blake, you've already done hadn't you?
Yeah, I've been peacock bass fishing. I went to the Everglades one year, and we actually went into some canals at the right beside the airport in Miami. And I was blessed enough to catch 2 or 3 peacock bass, and they are definitely worth the trip. You know, you think largemouth bass pools and spotted bass and other species, but those peacock bass, they're so beautiful, but they put up a fight. We had a good trip that year catching peacock bass. So yeah, that's if you haven't done that, you definitely need to take a trip to go peacock bass fishing.
So Blake, what's your bucket list of something you want to do as far as fishing related?
There's probably several things I'd like to go do. I'd like to go catch tuna fish. You know, I watch the Wicked Tuna on TV a lot, and uh, I just watched the show the other night. They spent 8 hours on one fish. You know, that would be awesome. I've always wanted to go out west, catch big rainbow trout. You know, out in the streams and rivers out west. And, red fishing. I've never been red fishing. I've always heard a lot of good things about that. So there's several things I'd like to go try.
It's all fishing. It's tough to separate it, ain't it? It's all things to want to get done.
Yeah.
So let's dive in. We kind of touched on funny moments and stuff like that, but let's talk about on a serious note of memorable moments. And I know Charlie, you had mentioned some pretty impressive stuff that you've got on memories. Let's hear about yours.
Well, like I said before, my first one would be, when me and Blake last year, we set the record at Hard Labor Creek. We had 23 pound, 23.42. And I mean, that was a phenomenal day of fishing. That's a day I'll never forget. That's one of the heaviest bags that I've actually weighed in any of the John boat tournaments. And then me and Michael Geiger one year, we pulled up on a spot at Varner back when Varner was the king. We made 3 casts and we had 18 pounds with 3 casts. And, we won that tournament. And that, to me, to do that, I mean, that's phenomenal in my book. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, that really is. So Blake, let's hear. I think we've touched base on it before with past interviews, but definitely like to revisit that again as far as memorable moments that you've got.
So me and Charlie have had several memorable tournaments. A lot here recently. I mean, the last 2 years, the Classic last year, 5 Live. There were several tournaments, but I guess probably one of the best memories I've had was when me and Dad, I think I was a junior in high school, and back-to-back weekends at Lake Varner in June, we weighed 29-pound sacks back-to-back weekends. And I had a fish in one of those tournaments that was a double-digit fish. They probably would have broke the record. Of course, you always lose the big one, but those back-to-back weekends were special. Me and Daddy both never forget those days.
And I don't remember if I've ever mentioned this before, and I definitely don't mean to put one above another or anything like that, but I know y'all two connected, you and Charlie, through with your dad, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I met Blake's dad at Walmart in Monroe. It's probably been, I'd say, probably 15 years ago. And believe it, we met in the fishing section. We were standing there, and I believe he was looking at some Cincos, and we got to talking, and he started talking about John boat tournament fishing, and he actually turned my head to the John boat stuff at that day and time at the Walmart, and me and Justin actually fished a tournament with high voltage at Black Shoal. Was the very first John boat tournament we ever fished, and me and him won it. And that pretty much was the deal maker right there. I mean, it was just the experience of doing that and competing and enjoying doing what I love to do, catch fish, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. There's something about, I'm sure everybody can probably relate to this. Not trying to put I think to my grandparents, both my grandpas, both of them's passed on. But I just, meeting your dad, Blake, and talking with him, man of very, when you first get to know him, I mean, I don't really know your dad, but very, few words, but you can tell right where his heart's at. You can tell, I mean, it's captivating. And I've said that about a couple of different anglers throughout the years, that when they speak, it captivates you, the respect there and everything else. And, what little bit of conversations I've always had with your dad, Blake, I've always thoroughly enjoyed conversating with him.
I appreciate that. And I know he does too. Daddy's always, just like with Charlie, he's always encouraged anybody getting into the sport and been supportive. And, with me, since I was old enough to walk, me and him were hunting and fishing, somewhere every Saturday. He raised me hunting and fishing in the woods and on the water, and that's something we've always done together, and made a lot of good memories. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
That's right.
Jay's a good man, very good man. I think a lot of Jay.
I'm sure everybody else would agree with that statement for sure. So I'm going to pause just for a moment, folks. If you got questions that you want answered, comments, anything you'd like to say, just giving you a moment here, refreshing, remembering, got opportunity. We're getting kind of closer towards the tail end of this. So just take a moment, got questions, comments, start typing away and hitting away. So, so as far as the ePropulsion TC is not the only event. Y'all obviously fished last year, multiple different clubs. This year as well, multiple different clubs. Know y'all are competing in the electrical elites, and y'all are sitting, correct me if I'm right with this, y'all are in top in points right now going into the Classic, right?
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
So I know that's got a lot of great representation of anglers in the John boats, fishing style tournaments, and they bring their A game every time.
They sure do. I mean, that's the, you think about that whole trail scenario, in your normal John boat clubs, you have some teams that are repetitively winning, but in this trail here, there has not been one team that has won repeatedly. I mean, it's been won by different teams. I mean, it's by far probably one of the stoutest John boat fields I have fished against. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, those guys are tough. They bring their A game. They put in their pre-fishing. And, I mean, at any given moment, any one of those teams on that water could win. And for us to be sitting where we are, I mean, it's truly a blessing for us to be where we're at right now. I mean, I'm thankful each and every day that I get to compete against those guys. And, I look forward to what's in the future with this trail, and like I said, I'm just thankful and blessed to be where we are in that trail.
Yeah, and to add on to that, this tournament is also outstanding. The TEC's the top of the cream of the crop. You have to earn it. That's the, sometimes people forget, you've got a whole year's worth of grinding and, good, bad, and ugly to be able to get to an event like this. And I've always said a points championship, a top 4 season finish in points, that means a whole lot, carries a lot of weight when you can consistently stay on top. Not saying that one tournament, winning a tournament or losing a tournament can make you or break you. I mean, state championship, but a lot of work and preparation goes into this event and a whole season behind it. So we've been very, very blessed over the years, me and Charlie both, to be able to compete in not just one trail. We've been able to compete in 4 or 5 different clubs, and we've enjoyed all of them, all clubs, all trails, fishing all over the state. We just, like we were saying a while ago, we just enjoyed, and we just love to fish. And whether it's big boat, little boat, whether it's north, south, east, west, we'll go anywhere to compete. And we thank all the guys and viewers and sponsors and that allow us to be able to do the things that we enjoy doing.
So I do want to also take a moment and thank. I know we talked about all the sponsors and stuff like that for the TEC, but also all those that's behind the scenes, all the club presidents, not only them, but, presented by Decked Out John Boats, the work that Brett puts into the cameras in the boats, putting together some video footage through, following up of the event. And not only Brett, there's others also, many others just behind the scenes. I mean, this year there was Jeff Reese with West Georgia Aerial Photography, Imagery, I believe. You can look him up on his page, well as Brett with Decked Out. All of them's got pages, Facebook, social media, different things, platforms, and services is provided by all of them. I mean, it's Bubba Jordan's, I believe it's his daughter that come through, and Wild Woman Photography. I believe that's what her name is on social media through with it for her company. The way they stepped up and, took involvement through with the TEC and helped. I mean, it just kind of like what you said. It's just, it's unbelievable when you get to those moments and you see the folks that's willing to just set aside, sitting back and watching and just wanting to be part and help. I mean, I know I'm leaving out a lot of others. I mean, there was a lot of other guys there that came that morning setting up the tent, pitching in, and Anthony and Ryan, Fire Ant, Chris Simmons.
All those guys. And, it's good for guys like me and Charlie who've been in the sport for years and years to see what all this hard work has come to. It's truly been incredible. I mean, from where it used to be, where we started, to what it is today, it's heads and tails, so much better, and so many people, good people involved. We just love to be able to be a part of it, for sure.
I think I mentioned this in one of the article write-ups. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's the same thing that y'all fishing as many trails that y'all have, competing, at all different levels. In the past, competing at higher levels, even to now, John boat fishing, competing at higher levels. That's never been done before. I mean, from what I know, there's never been electric outboards to this level like it's been this year. So the passion cannot be emphasized enough. I mean, we are John boat fishing. The heart and core is here. And I believe it without a doubt. Our state champions that you're seeing right here in front of you tonight, Blake and Charlie, that is the passion. And I can't emphasize it enough. Both of y'all men truly, truly represent the sport of John boat fishing to a very high standard. Y'all really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I believe this might be Donnie Boone, maybe. I need to help him figure out on comments on it to change from ePropulsion on it, so that way we make sure showing it it's him. But I'm pretty sure it's him. Bottom line, it's a big family, and I couldn't agree to that more.
I agree. I mean, the more people we could get, if everybody would come and work together, there's no telling what electric John boat fishing could turn into. I mean, you know, if everybody could just pull together, I mean, you know, you can't have a whole, have one big chief and a bunch of Indians. They've all got to work together. If they don't work together, you might as well throw it out the window. But I agree with that comment. It is a big family, but there's some scenarios we don't function like a big family.
Well,
that's why it's always perseverance, push, continue onward, move upward, and always put things in the good Lord hands. And I know that both of y'all men have always done that each and every step along the way. And that's where, not trying to put words in your mouth. I know how both of y'all are talking with you in the past. So if there's no more comments, I was trying to give some ample time there, folks. This is our 2021. Ain't nobody ever going to take it from you. You know, that motor eventually at some point in time may wind up needing some maintenance done to it, replacing certain things to it many, many years down the road. Batteries are going to be replaced many, many years down the road. The money is probably already spent, but the state championship is there, right?
yeah, you'll never forget those memories. You know, you could ask Charlie right now, every fish that was caught and their actions, and you know, there's nothing better than that, to be able to enjoy, compete and enjoy something you love to do. That's why we live.
Well, it's like there was a little scenario that happened when we found out that we had won it. You know, that nobody seen, wasn't nobody down there but me and Blake, and we were actually turning the fish loose. And Blake was backing the truck up, and he gets out, which his wife was there watching the weigh-in. And Blake, correct me if I'm wrong, did she text you or call you?
Yeah, she texted me.
She texts Blake, and I'm back here, you know, doing whatever to get the fish turned loose, and he comes flying out. I mean, literally, I've never seen him get out of the truck that fast. That joker come out of that truck, come around the back of the truck. He says, "We won it. We won it." And I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I think we won it." We hugged each other like two kids out there in that parking lot. Nobody seen us, but we did. We hugged one another out there in the middle of that parking lot. That's how he was able to compete and win. And, I mean, that day there, that was probably, I would say, one of the cleanest tournaments. I think, I mean, we fished a lot of tournaments clean, but, I mean, we had one mishap, and we don't know if that fish would have helped us or not. I mean, every key bite that we got, we put it in the boat. And the last 3 fish we caught, Blake's my witness, we went up and down that bank probably 2 or 3 more times, and we never got another bite. And I looked at Blake, I said, "Blake," I said, "I think that was it." I said, "That's what we needed." I said, "We ain't got another bite. We ain't caught another fish." I said, "I believe that was the good Lord telling us, hey, boys, y'all got what you need."
Yeah, and that happens. That happens more often than not. You know, things take place that, you know, the good Lord had his hand in it, and you know, there's so much that goes into, you know, whether you're on a big stage or whether you're on a small stage, whatever you do in life, when you have those victories and you can enjoy that moment, when all the hard work and blood, sweat, and tears, you know, when it all comes to the forefront, there's nothing no better than that. And it don't always happen. You know, there's a lot of times we've been knocked in the mouth, and, you know, but when it does come together, it's truly, you know, it's emotional. I mean, when you referred a while ago to passion, it's a passion. I know both of our wives can probably come on here and say we're each slap up with it, just like all the viewers are out there watching. That's why we do it. We do it because we love it, and when it pans out and the Lord blesses you, there's nothing no greater than that. And in that moment, that was special. That was as special as the fish hitting the bottom of the boat. You won't ever forget those, and that's why we do it.
So I want to ask something that I forgot to mention the other night pre-interview, and I was kind of saving this. So I know during the weigh-in, we tried to do the lineup and get everybody lined up in a certain order. And as everybody was coming by, I was asking everybody's weights. And I can't remember. I'm world's worst to remembering numbers. But I can't remember. Did you undershoot the weight, Blake? Because if I remember, I asked you when you drove by. Didn't you undershoot the weight a pretty good bit on me?
Yeah, I did. We had a fish so on my scale, there's like a little lock button, and it's touchscreen. Well, when I went to lock that fish in, it didn't lock. So we actually caught a fish, but it messed up our overall weight. So we didn't really know. We really didn't know how much we had. We knew we were around that, 14, 15 mark. But we caught so many fish so fast. And there was a couple of boats that seen us catch a lot of those fish. They can witness. I mean, I was spot locking, and Charlie was back there trying to cull fish. And, we caught 25 fish that day, and it was a whirlwind. And I told Charlie when we got back up in the parking lot, I was like, after I looked at them, because we were worried about them, in the heat and all. And we went up there and looked at them. I was like, man, we got some, they ain't really a small one in here, but I didn't know we had that much, but it all worked out. So
see, I could have swore I remember hearing you say 15 pounds. And
yeah, it was in that range. But the big fish on my scale at Red Roan, like it was like a 4.6, Charlie, on my scale, and it was actually a 5.1. So there was a 1.5 pounds right there, and then the other fish that didn't get locked in was another 1.5 pounds. So, I don't know. We made the same mistake this past Saturday. We were catching fish. Charlie's back there, and he's got one fish in one hand, one in the other, and I'm like, "Is that the right fish?" And he's like, "Oh yeah," and he was like fitting to throw it, and I was like, "Hold on, let's look, let's check it out and make sure." And he sticks his hand down in the live well, and the first fish he pulls out, it's like a 0.5 pound smaller than the fish he was fitting to throw back. And I was like, oh my goodness, we got to do a better job of this, and that saved us too. But it happens when you get to catching fish pretty quick. And it's a good problem to have, but we get so excited and worked up, we have to slow down and think about what we're doing, especially when it comes to culling. So yeah, that's we got to do a better job than that. That's something we need to work on.
So you have to slow down fishing and have to slow down the motor at the dock.
Yeah, we just need to slow down, just all together. If we do that, especially in the back of the boat, we'll have a better day. That's for sure.
I ain't slowing down. Cover me up.
Josh Thompson said, "Hello, champs."
What's up, Josh?
So that's exactly what I was thinking, though. So I wanted to bring that up. So if anybody fishes against these two state champs, It's kind of like presidency. You'll always be called state champs, same as the other previous state champs. They're state champs. But if y'all ever come in, I'm fishing against y'all, and you ever say 15 pounds again, or no matter what the weight is, I'm going to add at least 5 more pounds to y'all every time.
Well, I made my little buddy mad with me because it's like I told him that we had, 14 to 15 pounds. I said, and then when we weighed more, he was like, boy, you ain't never misjudged your fish that bad. I said, yeah. I said, but something was wrong with the scale. But, I mean, it happens. Like I said, especially in a big tournament like that. I mean, you get ramped up, and especially when you catch a 5 pounder and then 2 more that's, right around 4 pounds. I mean, just back to back to back. And you're just, you lose all train of thought of everything. I mean, you're just thinking, oh my God, we got to get these fish, get them in the live well. So,
second place team made a comment. Josh Thompson calling y'all some sandbaggers. Said he thought we had it.
No, I didn't sandbag Josh because when I told Josh we had a fish that looked like she was about to die. And we pulled up beside Josh. I looked at Josh. I said, look, you might as well get in line and weigh with us. He said, why? What do y'all got? I said, well, we got a decent bag. I said, I don't know for sure. He said, well, can you beat Geiger and them? I said, I think it's going to be close. He said, well, do y'all got 20? I said, no. He said, well, do you got 19? I said, it's between that, I guess. So I didn't sandbag him.
So, no offense, Blake. I'm going to start probably asking Charlie if he comes back in TEC events in the future.
Well, Wayne Glaze will tell you, if I got 10 pounds, you better get out of the way.
So, that's our next comment on here. He said, you got that right. Wayne Glaze. So, I actually had a comment that come through. I don't know if he wants me to publicly say this or not, but I don't believe he would mind one bit. He's watching the show. He's in Facebook jail. Ronnie Pendergrass. Sorry, you're in Facebook jail, Ronnie. But he wants me to ask y'all the question, do y'all like fishing offshore or bank structure?
Both.
Yeah.
Time of year, depending. Of course, during the spring, we like going up shallow, but we fish both. I love catching fish shallow just as much as I catch them deep. We don't really have a preference. Just knowing that the fish are there is it in a nutshell. Offshore is fun. I mean, you can get on more numbers for sure offshore than you probably can shallow, but it all depends on time of year.
Yeah. I would say offshore is, like Blake said, you can get on more numbers. Plus, those fish that are offshore, a lot of times, they don't get near the pressure that those fish up on the banks get. And, if you can pull up on the right school of fish that's out there offshore, I mean, you can get fat in a hurry, especially if you get the big girls fired up.
Yeah, and I think, as more and more as the sport's growing, more and more people are getting into this. Used to when we first started this, we'd be lucky to have 15, 20 boats, and that was big tournaments back then. And, now we're doing everything to help, keep from busting 40 boats every tournament with high voltage. And, it brings on a whole new challenge, talking about pressure, talking about offshore. You've really got to be on your A game and look for new stuff and little odds and ends. It's harder. It's getting more competitive all the way around. It's been a challenge. So that being said, offshore, I guess, has probably played a little more maybe in the last couple of years than it has in the past. Just for what Charlie said on pressure. It's different throwing to a fish in 30, 25, 30 foot of water. You're not going to cover the ground as well as you are a fish in 2 foot of water, so It's definitely changed.
So I want to ask both of y'all this: do y'all like bed fishing?
Oh yeah, I love bed fishing. I love it.
Yeah, we both like bed fishing. It's a small window. Um, there's been very few tournaments that me and Charlie probably have put all our eggs in straight sight fishing. Um, we usually like to mix it up that time of year, but there has been some tournaments where we've caught them strictly sight fishing, and that's a challenge. That's a whole new challenge. Uh, just to be able to hook that fish and get it to the boat's a challenge in itself. But yeah, we love bed fishing. We'd like to do it all: deep, shallow, bed.
Bottom line is, I love to fish. I like to catch them, and if I have to catch them 2 foot of water or 35 foot of water, let's go get them.
So Georgia Bassmaster made a comment. Appreciate the comment. Pressure is insane now. Would y'all agree to that statement?
Absolutely. You can jump in a big boat and go out to these big lakes, and you can go have 20, 30 fish days, especially during the right times of the year. There's tournaments we fish 8 hours, and we lucky to get 5 fish. And sometimes we don't do that, and a lot of that's due to pressure. I personally would like to see more off limits periods, longer periods of off limits. I think a lot of this pre-fishing up until even the day before the tournament on these little lakes, it really takes a toll on them. So I'm an advocate of trying to get it, more of a off limits and going that route for sure.
I like the off limits thing. I would like to see them go to more, off limits before the tournaments, just to give these little breaks, give these little lakes a break. I mean, it's not only just from the tournament aspect of fishing, but I mean, you got your everyday anglers that, load up and go. And I mean, they may be there while we're fishing a tournament and see where, somebody's whacking on the fish, and they go right back over the next day and say, well, I've seen this guy sit here and catch 20 or 30 fish, and he sits right there and does the same thing. It's just these little lakes do need breaks, and I do believe firmly, like Blake said, that that these John boat clubs ought to consider putting more of the off limits restrictions as far as the practice wise goes before each and every tournament. That wouldn't only benefit the anglers, but it would more benefit the lakes in general, the fish in general. I mean, those fish would be able to, do what they need to do, and the fish would the tournaments and the weights would be more productive if the lakes got more of a break during the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we never complain on how far to travel. We went to some lakes last year that were really, really, really tough on the Alabama line with 5 Alive, big lakes. Up and down Chattahoochee River, and we didn't complain because it was something different. I mean, we like to be able to explore and fish different stuff just to be able to give some of these lakes a little bit of break. Which I know, you got travel. I mean, 2 hours away. I mean, that's you are asking a lot, and you got more money in gas and travel time and whatnot, but. It definitely expanding the realm of John boat fishing, just right here in our area. I fully support that for the exact reason of pressure.
Yeah, and I'd say, years down the road to come, I mean, is much involvement with sponsors and social media and all different platforms that, everybody's trying to still create that promotion of different product lines, different things to help and promote. But with that also comes the consequences of it's the publicity of everybody seeing it. Everybody, just like what you was even saying, Charlie, God-given fact, you go out there, your head's on a swivel looking for fish. And if you're watching somebody catching fish, if you're just a pleasure boater out there, you're going to want to figure that out too. Everybody wants to catch, right?
Right.
Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that either. It's
No,
just
there's nothing wrong with it, none whatsoever.
no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just you're on a small body of water. I mean, you're not. Everybody can see everybody. I mean, everybody's watching all the time. You know, it's a whole different challenge. To me, in some ways, it's more of a challenge than fishing a lot of the big lake tournaments.
I mean, it's a lot more. I mean, you're confined to a small body of water. You're limited to on the space or the area you can cover. To where on the big lake, I mean, you may have 20,000 acres of water that you can run and fish, and you can run from one end to the other, and you may only see 2 or 3 boats in a 200 boat field. Yeah. I mean, and I'm a firm believer. You can take the top-notch John boat anglers and the top-notch big boat anglers and put them all on the lake that none of them's ever seen, and I guarantee you, them guys that fish that John boat trail is going to give them big boys a run for their money.
Absolutely. The competition's not any different. The best of the big guys, there's not much difference between them and even some of us little guys. The difference is in dollar bills and what comes along with that. The rods, the reels, the lures, the sponsors. You give a lot of these guys the tools. We talk about Panoptics. You give a lot of these tools to a lot of these anglers, and they'll go win some money. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, me and Charlie's been blessed enough to be able to fish against some of them, the top elite in the state of Georgia, and these guys are right there with them. I mean, it's just you're in a smaller boat, but the fish don't change.
Nope. And it's like some of them big boat guys say, "Oh, y'all just them pond fishermen." And when they say that, boy, it just lights a fire under my hiney. I mean, I'm like, boy, I wish you would just come on out here and find out about this pond fishing.
So I know one of our anglers in our club, he's the same way. Thought he could. He was past state champion. He said it past interview. Man, I used to fish big lake tournaments, and first thing he done when he could come over and fish these small lakes, man, it's gonna be a walk in the park. I'll be able to take all the money, do good. That ain't exact words, but just like, man, this will be a walk. It'd be easy. And when he got in it, I mean, he flat out said it like, holy cow, these guys are good. Like, I've got to put some homework in. And
one of the biggest things about it is you have to become a versatile fisherman. You cannot pick up a chatterbait and go to every lake in the country and catch fish. I mean, you've got to expand your arsenal and learn different techniques to be able to catch them and compete. I think that's the biggest thing with a lot of those guys that make that jump. They don't realize that, hey, this ain't just tried and true. I mean, you have to do your homework, and you've got to try different things and learn different techniques to be able to compete.
You saying that, and it kind of makes me think something. So I don't know if you'd agree with this or not. You're from around that area, both of y'all from around social circle, right?
Right. Same here. Right.
Yeah.
So Varner was the original. I mean, that was, the epic center of catching big bass for many, many, many years. Hard labor coming along, getting built, flooded, open to the public. Would you say, obviously now conditions have changed, but two bodies of water are very, very close. You approach them possibly totally different, even at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. You got to approach them totally different because, I mean, back in the day, Varner was the big bass factory, but Varner had what it took to grow those big bass. I mean, it was full of hydrilla, and that's what it took to grow those big bass. And I mean, you go to Varner now, and then you go to hard labor. I mean, it's kind of flip flop because you've got the structure in hard labor that the bass need, to where Varner don't have the structure that they need. So, I mean, you can't say you want to go to hard labor and you want to fish a 1 ounce jig out in 25 foot of water and brush. Well, you're not going to find that brush in 25 foot of water at Varner. By no means. And if you do, you're going to be lucky if you catch 1 or 2 fish out of it. Because them fish are not used to that type of structure. That lake was a grass lake. So, I mean, you definitely got to approach it now completely different than, you know, even if it was still good with grass. I mean, it's you just got to.
So
I think to add to that, I think, you know, a lot of these smaller lakes provide different structure, different fisheries that are just like the big lakes. You know, Varner back in its day is like a Gunnersville today. You know, High Falls is like an Oconee or a Sinclair. Hard labor is kind of a mix of several different big bodies of water. And I think one thing that's helped us over the years is to be able to fish those different types of bodies of water with different structures, different scenarios that helped us on a bigger scale. You know, we kind of learned everything within 2 hours of Athens that pretty much was like fishing Seminole, Eufaula, Gunnersville, these rivers. Like last year, we went to Goat Rock, Charlie, and what was the other one we fished? It was a river system. It reminded us both of river systems that we had fished in Lake Wheeler on the Tennessee River and stuff like that. So a lot of the basics that we learned come from these little John boat lakes that we were able to take to some of these big lakes. And we knew what to do because we had fished those type structures before. So I would recommend anybody that ever gets into bass fishing, you know, you start on this level, you're going to learn different techniques. You're going to learn different bodies of water. And it's by far, you know, helped us on all aspects of, you know, our success for sure.
So I want to ask something about, you talking about hard labor with structure in it. A lot of the lakes up here in our northern region that we fish, you know, probably been built in the past, let's say 20 years, probably lesser, but they sort of had, we got a lot more depth to the lakes up here than what hard labor. I mean, it's still got some depth to it, but talking hundreds of feet deep. Some of them, you know, hickory logs, 200 and something feet deep, right. Had tons of sapling trees that were flooded, not near as much fishable as what hard labor is. So on hard labor itself, what do y'all feel like the fishery is going to wind up doing? Because there'll be that transition when that structure starts to disappear. How do y'all, where do y'all see it coming up?
Well, I was told that DNR is already in the process of planting grass in the lake. It's not hydrilla, which, I mean, there's hydrilla already in Hard Labor Creek. It's not in well-known areas, but I mean, it's there. But I mean, eventually what's going to happen, I feel like, I mean, those fish are still going to be the brush-related type fish. You know, that's where a lot of your anglers are going to put in the time to build their brush piles. You know, it's going to be a lot more probably offshore type fishing later on down the road eventually. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, like every lake, once your shoreline structure dies off, yeah, it's going to become an offshore game, and with pressure like we talked about. The biggest thing that I think, you know, that will keep hard labor a fishery like it is to, which I feel like state of Georgia should do a better job of keeping these lakes stocked with bait fish a little better. You know, I know a lot of people enjoy hybrid bass fishing, but on a lot of our lakes that we fish down this way, they've put a hurting on the largemouth bait population. I mean, them suckers, they love to eat. They eat a whole lot more than just a regular largemouth bass. And I feel like, putting large amounts of hybrid fish in there, that can hurt a fishery too. But, hard labor is so big, it's kind of unknown. You don't really know what it's going to do down the road because it is so big. It's got a lot of fertile farmland around it. You got a lot of deep structure in that lake. I ain't talking just trees. I mean, there's a lot of deep structure in there too. So, I don't know. It's kind of, we haven't seen a lake that big with so much to offer. Even with the pressure, I think it's years down the road before we'll see, a sure enough decline, I think. But, who knows? A lot of it depends on what happens between now and then, too.
And I know I've had a lot of conversations, not just hard labor, but other lakes around about with fishery biologists through a DNR and shock studies that's conducted by it and stuff, and seen a lot of the samples from it, even from hard labor. It's impressive. I mean, it really, that's the reason why we've went and fished it, 3 years in a row. We don't want to wear our welcome out. We'll be figuring out where we're going to be going and announcing it probably sooner than later, coming up for 2022. And hopefully we'll be seeing y'all right back in the spotlight again coming into ePropulsion TEC 2022. So
we hope we can defend it and keep it right.
Hang on one second. Hang on one second, Charlie. You was breaking up. Try it again.
I said, yeah, I hope we make it there again, and I hope we can defend it and keep it right here with us.
And if we don't, it's been we've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a great event. Thank you, like I said before, all the hard work behind the scenes that goes into this. Us anglers, I think I speak for everybody. We all truly appreciate all the sponsors and everybody involved because it's truly remarkable. It's a highlight of the season.
Sure is.
So just curiosity. So y'all have Electric Elites coming up for y'all's classic. Y'all are also fishing high voltage, correct?
Right.
Y'all are fishing as a team together in high voltage?
No.
Oh, so we could possibly see a split between y'all fishing against each other. Same as what happened with Dusty and Taylor and Patricia and Taylor now. So I can't remember Dusty's partner. I'm sorry.
It's like I've always told Blake. I said, look, dude, I said, it ain't going to hurt my feelings none if you double qualify with me and your daddy and you look at me and say, hey, I want to fish with my dad. I said, hey, I understand 100% because if my daddy was still around and he liked the bass fish, that's who would be in the boat with me, my daddy. And Blake will tell you, I tell him all the time, hey, if your daddy wants to fish, take your daddy.
Blake, I will offer you protection if you qualify through for 2022 TEC. I will offer you protection and protect you from Charlie ramming your boat, okay?
How are you going to do that?
I don't know. We'll figure it out, okay?
Put him in a cage.
We'll make sure he comes in last for weigh-in. How about that, Charlie?
Don't let him cull fish. That's for sure. You get upset in the air.
I just hope I make it to the next one.
It's a tough feat to be able to take and qualify for it. It really is. So, absolutely. Hats off to y'all, both y'all men. Congratulations again for qualifying in this year's TEC event, as well as becoming the state champions for the ePropulsion TEC event.
Thank you.
Thank y'all both for tonight, tuning in. Appreciate all of our fans getting on here watching it, even those that get on and watch it later at times. We appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate our sponsors. If you can't see, look at all these hats. Y'all men step forward. Look at this. Y'all just look at it. ePropulsion hat. So I did say it, did I not, earlier? I'd be giving some hats away. So we still got some with it, and we'll go through maybe some of these comments and send some ePropulsion hats out to these folks. So appreciate y'all, each and every one. And guess what? Our next Hooked Up Live, man, it's crazy. Seasons are coming to an end, and we're going to be getting our Hooked Up Live interviews for 2022. Can you believe that? We're already going to get started on it. So planning has already began. Been in the works now for quite a few weeks for 2022, and I'm excited, as well as the other club presidents, directors, and through with the TEC event. It's just going to do nothing but keep getting better each and every year. The anglers, the competition that's brought to it, but most of all, the passion each and every event. So Blake, Charlie, I know I keep saying it, but thank y'all, men, both of y'all tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Merritt.
All right, we'll see everybody. Just blink and I will be right back with Hooked Up Lives. That is it. Thank y'all.